basically started, we'd actually put a couple of tracks out, Two-Tone Committee and an early Q-Tex under 23rd Precinct, the label, but Limbo started in 92, August 92. The Havana guys brought in a white label called Stum, and it basically just flew out. We couldn't believe the reaction to that record. It ended up selling about 15,000 copies. And we had no real intention at the start to run a record label. That wasn't how it turned out, but we kind of were dragged screaming into it from that day one. The contacts found us basically, and we sort of early chaos, but we got there. I've never really, we don't set out to do that musically. Kind of explained a bit about the way the label runs. We have 7 or 8 producers who know the kind of sound we're looking for, but I'd like to open up to any audience who'd be willing to listen to stuff we put in the label. We don't target it as directly. I'd love to cross the genres a bit. If people are into techno sounds, would like to hear some progressive stuff, then albeit. Not set out with one particular audience in mind, although obviously we appeal to the progressive side and the trance side. Yeah, I mean, the last sort of year and a half, 2 years, we decided to take Limbo back in a sort of deeper, more underground fashion. We had a bit of commercial success back in '96. We had some top 40 records. While it was enjoyable at the time, I think we learned a few lessons for that. It puts a great strain on an independent label when we've never had any financial backing from outside, and when we've had to do things like videos and do all the deals with the chain stores, it's created a few problems, and you get returns for HMV, Virgin Hour price of the world, and it puts a strain on an independent. We've learned a lot for that, and I decided to let's take it back to where we know sort of 2 people working with the label, keeping things tight, getting the sound right again. We've had to build that back up. It was almost starting from the beginning again, trying to recreate the sound of Limbo almost. Well, it had to be something a bit special, I think, and just by the reaction of the database cards. It's the names that come up all the time: Gypsy, Havana, Mucka, and I think we have hit on something. We've had a lot of interest from DJs and producers who were getting back to the Limbo sound anyway, and I think that has been the perfect package. Looking at it, it was the right decision to do it. Yeah. Well, all the names you would expect, from Sasha, John Digweed, Dave Seaman's been really good. Even guys like Danny Tenaglia, some of the American guys who you might not expect to like some of the things. Nick Warren, Seb Fontaine, guys like that at the moment. Graham Gold, he likes a lot of the sounds. It's quite across the board actually. You'd be maybe surprised by some of the people who do react to the stuff. A couple of guys in Ireland, Damon Bagan, Colin Hamilton, Robbie Nelson, guys over there. Good question. I think at the moment, over the last couple of years, my right hand man in the label, Stephen, has got a lot of respect from me. I think he is building his career nicely, and you know, he's always kind of remained pretty true to what he does. He's never took the shortcut to success, which some other people might do. I think Stephen's, it's going to take him a bit longer to get there, but he's building I respect what he's done a lot. All the guys who are involved in the label, I love what they're doing at the moment, but the interesting thing, the guy we mentioned earlier on, Gypsy, who I spoke to the other day, I'd love to see him get involved again with us, and hopefully that'll happen. I think in the early days, he was the one guy who did something a bit different. I've also, one other guy I think we should mention who is Stuart Crichton, who I think does a bit more accessible stuff, but he was involved in a lot of the early Limbo productions as well, and a lot of respect for him as a producer. I think everybody remembers the sort of first 10 releases. Gypsy we mentioned, we're going to do, I think, one of my favourite all-time tracks on Limbo. I mean, I had a lot of fun doing the Mucka thing, being involved in the productions with that. But I think Funk de Final, which we're going to re-release as the 3rd in the series, I think that's one track which stands out, something that we can do a bit more eclectic work on as well. But there's been a lot of things which have a lot of high points, some things maybe we shouldn't have went out in the label as well, but I'll hold my hand up to that.
Which things?
Mucka, Kiss My Acid, one of ours. But nah, I wouldn't like to name names, but one or two things which maybe, if we were concentrating now in the Limbo sound, wouldn't have come out. Slightly more commercial, slightly more accessible stuff. Well, I kind of knew the guys originally who went into that 10 years ago when we did our first birthday party in the shop. It was in the tunnel. Almost for day one, I had a bit of background with the guys before the ventures, before the tunnel, and sort of met Rowan sort of through Colin Barr and Mark Woodhouse, really.
They got one of the top designers involved on it.
Yeah, in the early days, yeah. I think going back, it was actually couple of other guys, Colin Barr and Mark Woodhouse, who were involved with Ron at the time. I think Ron did the design. Yeah, it was something that at that time it sort of captured the imagination. They're still doing things. They were first club to have the ISDN link up with Homelands. Was it Creamfields?
Yeah.
The Sasha, I think, played. So yeah, there always seemed to be a step ahead, and the sound system was wicked in there. I never look for one thing. I just get a feel for something. Whether I don't know. I seem to get an instant feel for anything, any style of music. It sort of happens for me pretty quickly. I think I don't need to go and search for that element in a track. I just kind of know when I hear it.
Yeah.
Even if it needs a bit of work or a bit of studio time. Just something, just a feel that you get.
What initially got you into the progressive thing?
I love all sorts of music, actually. I do. I kind of buy right across the board, from garage to drum and bass. But I don't know. Thinking back, sort of the trance thing helped me. Sort of just caught my imagination right away. Progressive house is probably just the circle we move in. The weekends, I just love the energy of it all. I love the sounds. I love the deeper edge to it as well. There's not one thing I can say that's why I like progressive house. I don't know. Well, I think over the last, I would love to do that, but over the last couple of years we had to sort of redefine the label first and get the sales base back up to a certain level. We haven't quite achieved that yet. I think we're still a bit short of that at the moment, but it's getting there, and yeah, I'd love to concentrate, and maybe if we can re-sign Gypsy to the label, that could be the first person to put out his second album.
Right,
maybe.
You're quite excited about that possibility?
Yeah, I reckon it could be quite a coup for us to have Gypsy back involved. Yep. Most of them are pretty highly regarded in their own right.
Yeah, is that what you look for when you're employing them?
Most of them I've kind of grew up with now over the years, so some of the people that Colin are actually reaching a level where I think his DJing career is probably going to take off, and I like to see that they have come through the 23rd Precinct shop. Most of them pretty quickly, I think they get recognised through working in the shop, so it's a bit of both. They say they all have big names in their own right now, but the shop's helped them as well, so it's good to see people being successful. More from the, we have a publishing side to the business, 23rd Precinct Music, which I'd like to sign people out with the Limbo side for that, where it gives us a chance to promote other things, not as a record label, but do it in a publishing basis. It all goes off in the shop. Yeah, definitely I'd like to move into other, not so much with the record label side, more for the publishing side, although I would like to have a sort of harder sort of tribal base to the label, whether it's Limbo housing or we create something else. I would like to do that.